Hey everybody, Tim here with today's Star Wars review, part 2 of Season 3 of Rebels. I don't know, again, Season 2 seems so good, and going into Season 3, it definitely is setting up some stuff, but it's still not that Season 2 quality. So for this one, I'm going to do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, continuing with the 5-episode thing. 6, Imperial Supercommandos. I don't know. It's the Mandalore thing. I mean, it's basically a sequel episode to Clone Wars, where I loved where Ezra's not even watching the criminal, and Sabine's like, "Why aren't you watching it?" And then he just knocks everybody out. We find out that the clans are attacking each other. Gar Saxton makes his appearance. We saw him briefly in the season 7 of Clone Wars, which technically he would have been in this before that, but whatever. And so stuff like that are okay. The lines were like, "Your evil cousins are chasing us," or where Ezra falls and he lands on Chopper and he's like, "I know it was an accident," and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. The whole thing just seemed a little drawn out for me. Like, I'm really interested in the Mandalore, like, everything about it. But anytime we get to, like, these type of episodes, I'm like, this is just kind of boring. So, I don't know. It's a little bit, it kind of goes both ways. Episode 7, Iron Squadron, was awful. Like, it was so bad. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z, but it's literally that, like, what is it? Like, I think it's the Namek Saga, where they just meet a ship full of kids. Like, that's all this one is. And even Zeb has the line, like, it sounds like it's a ship full of Ezras. And so stuff like that. And the whole time, they're just like, "We took out a Star Destroyer." That's a transport. "We took out a Star Destroyer." That's a light cruiser. A Star Destroyer 6 times that. And then when a Star Destroyer finally shows up, they're like, "Oh, shit." So the whole thing is just, I thought the whole episode was super boring. I didn't like it. I'm going to butcher this one. The Wynkahthu Job. They said the title in the episode once. I think it's just once, maybe twice. Still, what was the point? Like, Hondo? Okay, whatever. It's Hondo. Boop, Jim Cummings right there. As Morgan, okay, what's the point? I love the blind jokes. Like, anytime Hondo's like, "Can you see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry." Like, stuff like that, I loved. AP, where it's like, "There's a 38% chance that we'll survive. This was your plan." Oh, yeah, without me, this would be 0. So, stuff like that. The whole thing was just, it was a typical Hondo episode. So, I don't know. It is what it is. And Inside Man was actually really good. I did like that one. Writers return, so we see Clancy Brown, or hear Clancy Brown. And the whole, like, "We just have to get over 190. And then basically they have infiltrated the assembly line, so that way the Empire stuff starts breaking. And the entire time, they're like, "That's brilliant." And I'm like, that's gonna fail. And sure enough, when Thawne shows up, and he's just like, "Okay, so we're gonna test your work." And he just starts killing people. And he's like, "Okay, so you made this bike. Test it." And he gets up to that maximum speed, it blows up. And he's like, "Oh, well, you're dead." So moving on. We find out that Kahless is Fulcrum. Not a big surprise. I mean, especially after the whole Zeb thing. The like, "Make it look real," and Ezra throwing him through the glass was kind of great. I think this might be the first time we've seen an AT-AT actually lay down, and it does it kind of like a camel, where they're trying to crush the little walker. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But overall, like, it was kind of interesting, but it still wasn't great. I definitely feel like Season 3's kind of dipped a little bit. And then finally, the last episode I'm going to do is Visions and Voices, where Ezra meets Maul once again. They go to Dothamir, which is actually kind of cool, with the Night Sisters and stuff like that. Maul has the Darksaber, and he basically just wants to merge minds. And so they do it, and they find out, again, Ezra's like, how do we, like, end the Empire? And Maul's like, where's Kenobi? It's the same answer. It's a desert planet with twin suns. And Maul has the line of, like, it ends where it begins. Which, I mean, Anakin was born on Tatooine. It's not that hard to figure out. So stuff like that. Sabine and Kanan, like, being possessed by the Night Sisters was kind of a weird twist, but it worked. And then Sabine takes the Darksaber with her. So I'm really kind of curious where the Darksaber goes. I've already watched Mandalorian season 1, and we know the Darksaber's in that, so I'm curious to kind of track it throughout this one. Curious what you guys think. Let me know, and I will see you guys next time for part 3.